Until a few years ago, this top didn't make any sense because the same Messi, Ronaldo, and Neymar occupied the top three. But because Neymar and Ronaldo moved to Saudi and Messi moved to MLS, this top looks quite interesting now. Until the moment of Ronaldo's transfer, footballers took home the biggest salaries at Europe's best clubs. But now everything changed because of the Saudi League. However, there are a lot of top players that earn an unbelievable amount of money. So here's the full breakdown of the highest paid footballers in Europe. 10th place is occupied by Casemiro. After the departure of David De Gea, he's become Manchester United's top earner thanks to an incredible debut season at Old Trafford. Things are not looking too good for him, though. This season, some people noticed that he's a little bit overweight, and that's why his performances started to decline. There are rumors that United wanted to sell him in the winter because he earns £350,000 per week. In my opinion, this would be the worst decision in United's history, as he's still one of the best CDMs in the world. They already kicked one of their best players of last season out. I'm talking about De Gea. And where are they now? Next up is the legendary Manuel Neuer. Bayern's captain is playing for the Bavarians since 2011, and he's been at the club for each and every one of their 11 Bundesliga titles in a row, and on top of that, he won 2 trebles at the club. Because of his legacy, he signed a new contract in 2022, and he became Bundesliga's best paid player. Well, until Harry Kane arrived, but we'll talk about him later. Even though he broke his leg in a skiing accident, he still makes £351,000 per week, and it's said that Bayern want to renew his contract until 2025. To be honest, he really deserves all the money he earns. In 8th place is another legend, the Ballon d'Or winner, Luka Modric. One of the best players of his generation refused the numerous offers from Saudi Arabia and decided to stay at the Bernabeu. After turning 30, he signed only short-term contract extensions with Real Madrid, and year after year, he proved that he is worth that money. At 38, he signed another one-year contract with him, and he now earns £360,000 per week. Interestingly enough, he's not in the top 3 best-paid La Liga players. Moving on, in 7th place is the robot himself, Erling Haaland. Ever since his Dortmund days, he showed everyone what he's capable of, so no one would be surprised by the gigantic salary he collects. Following his move to City, he signed a $375,000 contract, and in his debut season, he played for all that money. He won the European Golden Boot, ended up the top scorer in UCL and Premier League, ended the year as the Ballon d'Or runner-up, and helped Pep Guardiola win his 2nd European treble. However, this year, City seems to struggle, but I'm sure they'll bounce back. 6th place is occupied by a shocking player, in my opinion. After winning the treble with Bayern Munich, David Alaba wanted a fresh start and signed with Real Madrid. Alaba's agents negotiated very hard with Real and managed to give Alaba a £370,000 per week salary. A big part in their negotiation played the fact that the Los Blancos weren't required to pay any transfer fee for him, as he signed as a free agent. He's a very good player, but I don't think he deserves that salary. The first top 5 player is probably the best attacking midfielder of his generation, Kevin De Bruyne. Ever since he signed with City, he was a key player for Guardiola. Probably he's the reason why they're struggling this season, as the Belgian left the pitch injured in the first Premier League game of the season after only 22 minutes. Since then, Manchester City lost 4 games and are on a 4-game winless streak. In April 2021, he signed the biggest contract in the league and earns £400,000 per week. Moving on, we have another great midfielder, Toni Kroos. Just like Luka Modric, he signed a 1-year extension in June and hints that he'd like to retire from Europe. After signing the new contract, he was asked about Vegas transfer, who joined Al Ahly at 21 and said that his decision was embarrassing. He earns £401,000 per week, but somehow he's the 2nd best paid player in the league. Stay tuned to find out who occupies the 1st place in La Liga. The first podium place is occupied by probably the best English striker of all time, Harry Kane. The top goal scorer in the history of England and Tottenham finally decided to leave Spurs and pursue his dream to lift a trophy. He was not cheap though, as Bayern paid around £80 million for him and handed him the biggest contract in Bundesliga history. He had the chance to win his first trophy in his first game, but somehow Bayern lost the Super Cup 3-0 to Leipzig, and later they got kicked out of the cup by 3rd league side Saarbrücken. Kane's curse might be real, as in Bundesliga they're second, which is not a very familiar position for them. Even though he makes £410,000 per week, I think he'd give all this money for the chance to win a trophy. Leave a comment down below and tell me if you think he'll ever win a trophy in his career. The difference from third to second is around £206 per week. Yeah, it's safe to say Frenkie de Jong hit the jackpot with his £616,000 per week salary. The last Josep Maria Botemeo hangover was in the contract of De Jong, who signed an extension in 2020 after arriving in the summer of 2019. To be fair, he is an exceptional midfielder, probably one of the best in his position, but taking into account Barcelona's economic problems, he earns too much money and he'll earn it until 2026. However, Barcelona made great efforts to reduce their wage bill, offloading some of their best players like Messi, Busquets, Piqué, and Jordi Alba. Was it the right decision? I don't know. What do you think? In first place is Kylian Mbappe. I think everybody knew that. His weekly wages, are you ready? Almost £1.2 million. That's a Porsche 918 Spider per week. It looks like the Frenchman is finally leaving Paris in the following summer, but his wage might be an enormous problem for whoever tries to sign him. Florentino Perez said the Real has enough money for Mbappe and Haaland, which in my opinion is impossible, as they're some of the best players in Europe. On top of that, the transfer fee would be mind-blowing for each of them. Well, we'll see in the summer what happens with Mbappe. Until then, you have all the time in the world to check the videos uploaded on the channel.